Hello students, we continue with our poem The Plate of Gold. Before I read further, let us recapitulate what we had done the day before. I hope you remember what we have already done. I'll just quickly go through the lines which I had read that day. One day there fell in great Banaras temple court a wondrous plate of gold whereon these words were writ. Now when I'm reading, that day I have already explained these lines. I'll tell you which figures of speech can be seen in these lines. A wondrous plate of gold whereon these words were writ. So you see here the figure of speech is alliteration because the letter W is repeated pleasingly. To him who loveth best a gift from heaven, thereat the priests made proclamation at the midday hour. Each day let those assemble who for virtue deem their right to heaven's gift the best, and we will hear the deeds of mercy done and so adjudge. So I hope you must be remembering that in the temple court of Banaras, a plate of gold fell, and on the plate words were written that this was a gift from heaven to whosoever who could love best. Now let's read further. The news ran swift as light, and soon from every quarter came nobles and munshis and hermits and scholars and holy men. You know that news ran as swiftly as light. Here the figure of speech is simile. And many people came. Now of those who was felt the best, that person was given the plate of gold. So meanwhile the priests in solemn council sat and heard what each had done to merit best the gift of heaven. In this line, meanwhile the priests in solemn council sat. Here the words are not in proper prose order. The words should have been the priests sat in solemn council. So here the figure of speech is inversion because the words are not in proper grammatical order of prose. So for a year the claimants came and went. How much time passed? 1 year. Claimants came and went. Here the figure of speech can either be antithesis because came and went, two opposite words are used, or you can even write alliteration, claimants came. C is being repeated pleasingly. At last, after a patient weighing of the worth of all, the priests bestowed the plate of gold on the one who seemed the largest lover of race. So I'm sure you must be remembering after a year or so, the priests gave the plate of gold to whom they felt was the greatest lover of human race. Here again the figure of speech is largest lover of race. Here the figure of speech is alliteration. Again L is repeated pleasingly. Let's read ahead. Within the year had been parted among the poor. This man, all trembling with joy, advanced to take the golden plate, when lo, at his fingers' first touch, it changed to basis laid. All stood aghast, but when the hapless claimant dropped it clanging on the floor, heaven's guerdon was again transformed to shining gold. You know that this was given to the person who had given away his estate to the poor. So the first time the plate of gold was given to that person. Here in this line, the hapless claimant dropped it clanging. Here the word clanging gives the sound effect. Hence the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. You know there are you must be aware of other examples of onomatopoeia such as tring tring, which maybe gives a sound effect of a doorbell, or chan chan, which gives the effect of a pile or anklet, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead. So further another 12 months sat the priests and judged. Thrice they awarded, thrice heaven refused the gift. Here in this line, thrice has been repeated twice. So either it can be repetition or you can say alliteration, because T is repeated pleasingly. Thrice they awarded thrice. So either you can write the figure of speech as repetition. Repetition only is better. Okay. So in this time, 3 times the plate of gold was given to someone, but 3 times the heaven refused the gift. That means it must have been again turned to lead. Meanwhile, a host of poor, maimed beggars in the street lay all about the temple gate in hope to move that love whereby each claimant hoped to win the gift. This we have already read. Turn the page and let's continue. And well for them it was, if gold be charity, for every pilgrim to the temple gate praised God, that love might thus approve itself before the test. And so coins rained freely in the outstretched hands. But none of those who gave so much as turned to look into the poor, sad eyes of them that begged. This also we have done earlier. Many pilgrims, many people came to the temple and they freely gave coins to the beggars in the hope of proving themselves as the person who loves mankind the best. But they did not have any real feelings for the beggars, nor did they even take care to look at the sad eyes of those who were begging. Their hope was only to get the plate of gold. They were having that selfish motive. Till here we have done last time, and now we will begin reading ahead. The second year had almost passed, but still the plate of gold by whomsoever touched was turned to lead. At length there came a simple peasant, not aware of that strange contest for the gift of God, to pay a vow within the temple. As he passed along the line of shriveled beggars, all his soul was moved within him to sweet pity, and the tears welled up and trembled in his eyes. Now, after the second year had almost passed, one person who was, an ordinary either farmer, cultivator, or a person working there, a peasant, came to the temple to pay a vow, to fulfill a commitment to the deity, to God. व्रत जिसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं. And he was not even aware that there was something called as a plate of gold and that it was going to be gifted to someone who loved the best. Nothing. He just came without knowing all these things. As he was proceeding towards the temple, he saw a line of shriveled beggars. Shriveled means all, having no energy, all wrinkled and all. Looking at them, he was really feeling bad. He felt all, overcome with compassion and love. He felt bad for their condition, and his eyes were filled with tears. He really felt a lot of emotion towards them. Let's see what happened ahead. Now by the temple gate, there lay a poor, sore creature, blind and shunned by all. But when the peasant came and saw the sightless face and trembling maimed hands, he could not pass, but knelt and took both palms in his and softly said, "O thou my brother, bear thy troubles bravely, God is good." So what did he do? While he was passing, near the temple gate, he saw someone who was, blind, and he was poor and sore. Sore meaning what? Here it means having a painful body, especially, when touched. And such kind of, beggars, such people are really shunned by all. Shun meaning what? Avoided, rejected. But when this peasant came and saw the blind man trembling and, having hands, maimed hands, we have seen yesterday. Maimed means permanently damaged or crippled. He could not pass that person without saying something to him. He just knelt down. Knelt meaning what? He sat down on his knees and took both the palms of the blind beggar in his and softly said, "O thou, my brother, O thou meaning you, O my brother, O you, my brother, bear thy troubles, thy meaning your troubles bravely." He did not offer coins, he did not give the blind man anything, but just said words of love, words of compassion to him. What he said? "Oh, my brother, I am understanding that you are having troubles, but have courage enough to face them bravely." And he also said in the end that God is good. Surely some solution will come to your problems. This is what he said. So now the peasant, did he give anything to him? No. He himself was a very simple man. He did not offer coins, nothing, nor was he even aware that there is a plate of gold to be gifted. But he was a person who was genuine at heart. Let's see what happened ahead. Then he arose and walked straight away across the court and entered where they wrangled of their deeds of love before the priests. After saying these words, he was himself maybe that is the condition, that he himself was not having so much to give to that blind beggar. So he said kind words and went away inside the court, temple court. There what he saw, many people were wrangling meaning what? Arguing angrily. What for they were arguing with the priest? Just trying to prove that their deeds of love made them the person who loved God best. Why they were doing all these things? Because they wanted to get the plate of gold. Their motives were selfish. So whatever deeds of love according to them had been done were not done selflessly. There was a motive behind that. So do you think God will be pleased by such deed of love which have been done with a motive? No, na? Because we have been taught from childhood that whatever we are doing, we should not expect anything in return. Whenever we are expecting anything in return, that means that is not an act of love. That is something commercial. Give and take. That is not what is wanted here. Okay? The rest we will see in the next video.